when children are introduced to your marriage, how that changes your marriage or the dynamics of your marriage. And our first child was a miscarriage. And so where we were at the time was at the Newman Center, and we were working at Newman Center, and of course beyond elated that we were expecting, and all the students were excited, and anyway, the doctor had said we were going home for Christmas, and he said, how far along do you think you are? At any rate, he said, I think you're going to have a miscarriage. You'll have to come back for a D&C. And being a first-time mom, I'm like, what do you know? That I'm going to have this baby. And we were just so excited. And he was exactly right. On Christmas Eve, I miscarried.
Midnight Mass.
Midnight Mass. Standing at Midnight Mass, and I miscarried. And it was just like this balloon, this like bright yellow, excited balloon of joy that, we're expecting, just went, just popped. And for us, it just deflated. And it felt like all hope and joy left of maybe ever having children. And 6 months after that, 3 months after that. 3 months after that. We were supposed to wait 6 months after that. 3 months after that, we were expecting again. And our firstborn was Mariah, Gabriella. And, it was, I guess when I was pregnant, I'll speak for myself, but when I was pregnant, I felt like a walking miracle. I loved being pregnant because I felt like a walking miracle to have this baby growing inside. And for us, it was always shared together. It's our pregnancy, it's our child. And so
there were a lot of dynamics at play, and when Angelito, we named
little
one,
we lost,
little angel, but when we lost Angelito, it kind of put a whole different perspective on the first child. And we were also dealing with other issues at that time. So Mariah then was born, and she came into a couple that were trying to figure things out on their own.
When she was born. And
we were doing a lot of work. And what's fantastic about it is we went forward in life, and we dealt with the issues, and we looked to the counseling, and we learned to communicate, and we learned to do those things. When we were getting things in road, we were also working and practicing natural family planning. Mm-hmm. And that's why when people ask us how the differences between our children, now today we have four children.
So we have Mariah, and then there are 4 years between Mariah and our second child.
So there's a reason there's 4 years. And then it's 2 years, 2 years, and 2 years.
So we have Mariah, and then we have Keegan, and then Kaylin is a boy, and then Sean Patrick is our fourth one. And so we always say, with your first one, you feel like you're experimenting. You're new parents, you don't know what to do. But we were in it together, and really, like Kevin says, when she was born, our marriage was rocky. Was rocky to start, in the midst of a very rocky time, a hard time. And but what we knew is we have this beautiful child. We want this marriage to work. We want to raise this child together. And so we have to get our act together, because there's no way. I mean, when he said the words to me that, Shannon, I think, you have a good job here in Vermilion. I'm just going to take off and find something else, to do, and take Mariah, that was it. No, let's get our act together. I need to, get some counseling. And
we jumped a lot.
We did jump a lot, but I want to bring that in, because with your first one, you think it's all about the baby.
Yeah, within those first 4 years, and this video could go on for hours. But that first 4 years, within that first time, that first pregnancy, it got to the point that the only reason I was in the marriage and she was in the marriage was because of that first child, and that's what we had to deal with. And when I think we really got ahead of that, and things fell together. Mm-hmm. I shouldn't say fell together, worked together.
Didn't fall together.
I mean, that's when we were able to then know that we were ready for the next, to cooperate with God, and God blessed us with a beautiful boy, Keegan.
Keegan O'Shea.
2 years later, another beautiful boy, Kaylin. And 2 years later, the other boy, Sean.
And people asked us, so, are you planning, with each one? Nope, just for us, it was just whenever, because we were very open to having children, and we didn't say a certain number or anything like that. But
and we were comfortable in practicing with natural family planning, and that was something that we understood it. We went to Dr. Ritter, and he was just starting off, and we were going to get one of his initial couples, and it was a wonderful experience. We knew it, but we also, he'd always ask you that question: are you working to achieve or not achieve? And we'd go through, and we said, we're open to it.
We're open, to it.
And we were blessed. They've grown now. I mean,
when the kids were little, as far as children in the marriage and how you make that all work. When they were little, you're so busy. You're so busy with the physical aspects of taking care of them. And I mean, looking back now, I mean, we have one Mariah's in college, and she's going to be
21 now.
She's 21, and she's going to be senior in college, and our youngest is an 8th grader. And so I look back at those times, and I remember telling myself, I mean, I treasured when they were so little, that I want to remember this. I want to remember these times when they're so little, because people tell you all the time when they're our age now, it goes so fast. It goes so fast. And when you're in the midst of it and you're working so hard, you're like, yeah, right. When are they going to grow up? And now we're going, oh my gosh. Mariah's off to college, they're growing up.
And I had a friend years and years and years ago challenged me to start journaling, and I started journaling, and that's the greatest way that I've been able to go back, and we've been able to share. We've gone back to, this was last year. I went back to one of the kids' birthday in my journal, and read to them what happened that day.
Yeah, it's what, because I'll say, Kevin, go get your journal, and so pull it out, and Mom's water broke. Oh no, don't read us
Don't read that. Don't read that. But it was, what has happened is that you're so busy those first years that you really, I mean, I remember coming in with our number 2 child, Keegan, who was colicky, and I'd come in the door at 5:30, and I was doing vocations work for the diocese at the time, so I'd be running around all over the place, and I'd come in, and she'd hand me the screaming child, and so I'd hold on to the screaming child while she's taking care of the 3-year-old. And so then comes the second one, 2 years later. And what we learned is that with each child, it's more work. I mean, the first child is just great because we can pass it back and forth. 2 children, you're both busy, but you still can handle it. 3 children, you're outnumbered. And, then it's
so it doesn't matter after that.
Then, well, no, it does. Well, you add a 4th child, it's that much more work. And it becomes a big you really have to learn how to communicate and how you're handling, how checking your frustrations, checking your, how you deal with stress and pressure.
And how I mean, I would have to check myself if I could feel myself getting angry with the kids or something. I would do some deep breathing and either have to walk away, because I knew from our past and how I grew up, there were things I know I didn't want to say to them. Like, how could you, or belittling things. I knew I had to stop myself, and I had to think before I would say something. That's okay. Stop and just think, because they're looking at you too, and as they're looking at you wondering, what are you going to dish out? It is actually better on the other end as that they're wondering, what are you going to dish out? But what I'm really doing is going, what is the right thing to say? What do I need to say at this time? I think you go from late nights of picking up a baby and being semi-unconscious in the middle of the night to laying awake at night when they're in high school going, are they in yet? Are they in yet? And those kind of different worries. But, through it all with us, our children, we don't hold anything back from them as far as communication. And, yes, there's arguments, but we make it very clear. Here are the not guidelines, but here's what we expect.
There are rules.
There are rules. And here's
right and wrong.
There's a right and there's a wrong, because in growing up, I had a lot of gray lines. So you experiment within those gray lines, and our children know what we expect from them. And then when they do cross the line, there is a discipline. And most of all, through all that though, they know that that we love them. When they were little, we'd bless them before they go to bed. God bless you in the name of Father, Son, and Holy Spirit, and then they would bless us back too. And so
I mean, we've done that since they were infants in bed until today. When Mariah leaves for college, we'll bless her as she leaves, and she'll bless us. And hugging kids. A 21-year-old doing that now. I think through those ages, for when you're newly married, that it's such a discovery and it's such a hard communications issue. But it continues as you grow up. I remember Mariah hitting her freshman, sophomore year. We were having such issues with her. She was a beautiful young woman, but she couldn't communicate well. She wasn't able to communicate with her peers. And she would start acting out of herself. She would take an eraser and erase her arm until she bled. And she would tell me, she goes, I said, why did you do that? She goes, I can't feel. Okay, all of a sudden, you know, this was running into this roadblock of saying, you can't feel. And how do I talk to my child about that? And I really, really believe that those are times that you have to take it to prayer, but you also have to be open to outside help.
And then, of course, you go to yourself, or at least I say to myself, oh my gosh, where did I go wrong? Yeah. Where did we go wrong? How could this happen? She was an only child for 4 years. She had the world at her feet, you know, and so we said, okay, Mariah, we need you to go. We have to have you go to counseling because you need to get help. And it was, and she did willingly, and turned around and, you know,
but
kept
it opened up our communications with her,
yeah.
And she was able to be free to talk with us about any issues or her frustrations and express herself. I think the boys have picked on to that. I think we've learned from her.
And I think
but each is different.
But I think with girls, they hit that puberty stage, and I don't know who did she turn into? I don't know who she turned into. You know, she hit that 6th, 7th grade level, and with girls, when you're raising daughters, that's when she started to not shut down, but not communicate at all. The little girl was gone, and now through that puberty stage, that was tough. I wondered, where did she go? Jesus. You know, and then they hit that freshman, sophomore year, and that's when she started to do that. But then we got Mariah back to communication. The boys, it's different with sons.
And we're working through those times too. I mean, there's challenges, and we meet them head on, and we talk them through. I think the most important thing that we try to do, and I continue to do it, is to make sure that it's done in love, and that they know, I love you. I am trying to help you through this, and see that this is not helpful for your future. They don't really see it that way all the time. That's what you at least have to continue to say that. I know so many great couples that have children go down a way wrong road than that they would want, and they question, did they do something themselves? I mean, did they do something wrong? And I firmly believe that, you know, if it's done in love, you've done everything you can, and the road, free will comes in, and I hope I've given them tools to make right decisions, but sometimes I have to pray through the tough decisions that they make too.